my second video review, and so it looks like at the moment I'll probably do about one a week, maybe two, depending. I'm not sure. I've been pretty busy this week, and the next few weeks are about the same with work. But yeah. Oh, one thing just recently arrived. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it, but the Green Lantern ring from Toys R Us exclusive in the United States. So obviously being here in Australia, I had to get it sent over. Luckily at eBay, people hadn't gotten too greedy just yet, so it was fairly cheap. It's a really cool ring, better than most of the other ones I've seen around, and so it looks like a movie, exclusive type one. It looks exactly like it. My Green Lantern t-shirt just for the interview as well. Yeah, so let's discuss today. Going to talk about two movies and just a small comic. I have kind of like a box of old comics I collected since I was a kid. Some you find for 75 cents at a garage sale, or you bought in shops. Back then were about $3 to $6, I think. That's what my parents discussed. Yeah, so let's start. First movie up. I was going to do a Thor review like a long time ago, but then I had camera and computer issues and stuff, and I finally started doing them. So yeah, I'll talk about Thor first. Great movie. I loved it. I had a lot of mixed reviews about it. Just when I saw it about a few days after opening, and people were kind of saying like, "No, this is terrible. This is really great." And I guess I've always been a fan of Thor. I love the character. Sort of like a god as a superhero. And for those who aren't familiar, I guess, which would be kind of hard to imagine these days, but Thor, God of Thunder, one of the Avengers, a superhero, banished to Earth by Odin, his father. He basically became a hero here, and it's just a great comic. I love it. I've got some really old ones, got some newer ones. I haven't read too much of the stuff in the last few years, but it doesn't really matter. For the movie, I don't think you really had to be a fan or know much about the previous sort of literature that had gone out. It's kind of an origin story, so you have Thor, Loki. Loki is Thor's half-brother, who's the god of mischief, where Thor's the god of thunder. And I felt some really good chemistry there. I think Tom Hiddleston, who played Loki, did it really well, but I kind of thought there was something missing. I guess because reading the comics, he was more of like a really evil, sort of mischievous character on one side, but people always knew it, whereas in the start of the film, everyone seemed to be kind of like a bit, really too friendly with him, from my point of view. Like, I thought like people always just thought he was the good one, as well. Like, he was just kind of like, not the strong half-brother, the weaker one, but yeah, it was a weird one. Anthony Hopkins as Odin, oh god, that was just amazing. I think he was suited to the character. They picked Kenneth Branagh just did really well with casting there. In fact, I think the whole cast did really well. Jane Foster was cast perfectly. And Thor himself, Chris Hemsworth, spot on. I couldn't have picked anyone better to play the role. He looked perfect as it. I guess like kind of the way you read Thor speak in the comics, or have seen him in the Avengers cartoon or something. Maybe in the movie, it kind of spoke a little differently, but I think it was better for the screen than if he spoke exactly like he does in the comics, which can sometimes be a little bit confusing. So yeah, it was just that, it was really great. But so the storyline kind of goes, you've got Thor's the impatient son. He's always ready for action and a fight. He doesn't really think things through. So at the start of the movie, you've got them. Odin's basically fought long and hard to get peace within the 9 mythical realms. One of them being Niflheim, I think it was, which is the sorry if I'm a bit off on the names. Was the ice planet where the frost giants live, and so that's all been put away, and everyone's kind of like living in maybe a tension sort of peace at the moment. Basically, some frost giants kind of sneak in, try to steal a really powerful sort of weapon that's in the Asgardian vault, and they're dealt with pretty easily. The Destroyer comes out, gets rid of them, Odin stops them, Thor goes down there and helps too, and you kind of get that thing of, ooh, yeah, this doesn't look good, and Thor wants immediate action, they should strike back. Odin's like, no, there's no point, they didn't get it. And it kind of kicks off all the events from there. and basically because they take action against him without Odin's permission, which you see Loki kind of helping there from both sides. Like he kind of pushes Thor into doing it without, you know, really saying it, but you can see he's the trickster and that's what he's doing. I thought this was a brilliant movie. I liked seeing Thor having to deal with being a human where he's been a god. He still kicks ass awesomely though, even as a human without all of his powers. Just that sort of kind of superb warrior. Now, there was a great cameo in this too. You see Hawkeye, Clint Barton, at the SHIELD facility where he's being held when he tries to take back Mjolnir, his hammer. That was just amazing to see. So you can obviously see he's going to be showing up in the Avengers or getting his own movie at some point, which would be really cool. And I won't go too much more because spoilers, people haven't seen it or you know, just talk too long about it. It was just such a great movie for myself, but I'd probably be giving it somewhere like an 8 out of 10. I thought it was really good. I know one of my mates absolutely hated it, but that's fine. I don't really think he's suited these sorts of movies. He might like some of the comic ones, but yeah. So definitely, I'd recommend watching it. Now, next movie I want to talk about, which was more recent, X-Men First Class, and another brilliant movie. It's just been, this sort of year has been the movie for comic movies. I mean, we've got Captain America out in a couple of weeks. I'm really pumped for that one. Green Lantern. I am super annoyed at the companies for not releasing it here in Australia. We don't get it until like August 24th, where it's been out in America for a week or two now, 2 weeks. Green Lantern's like my favourite superhero. I'm so annoyed about that right now. I'm just refraining from swearing. But I don't know what the delay is. There's some countries that haven't gotten it yet, and at the moment I keep seeing like, Green Lantern hasn't done so well in the sales compared to X-Men First Class. Well, it's kind of obvious if you look at it. You didn't release it worldwide like X-Men First Class did. You've released it in America and maybe a couple of other countries so far, so what you've taken is probably pretty good. If you release it worldwide, you might find your sales start going up. So how about just, bring it to us in July. Give me Captain America and Green Lantern in the 1 month. That would be awesome, thank you. X-Men First Class, off track. Mega cast of characters from the comics. I wasn't the biggest X-Men fan of comics growing up. I mean, I have a few. I watched the cartoons, but they weren't really my favourite sort of reading materials, I guess. But this was a really good. I think this is X-Men First Class has outdone, for me personally, Wolverine Origins. It's or maybe equal with, but it outdid X-Men X2, X3. X3 wasn't that great, but it's definitely outdone the other 3 X-Men movies. So anyone definitely, I'll give this a 10 out of 10 just up front now before we talk about it. So basically it deals with the how it all came about, the X-Men, the Brotherhood of Mutants. You've got young Charles Xavier, young Raven Mystique. It's kind of, I didn't realise they were actually friends at the start, or maybe that's just been written into the movie, I don't know. Hopefully they didn't take too many liberties with that. You've got a young Eric Lensher in the prison camp showing what happened, how his parents died, and Kevin Bacon as Sebastian Shaw, the scientist leader of the Hellfire Club. That was pretty amazing, and I really didn't know too much about that character, so it was good to see him in there. And there was a lot of other characters. I mean, you had Havoc, Beast, Banshee. Banshee was kind of funny. I didn't know about a character called Darwin, nor did I know about a character called Azazel, I think I'm saying the name right, who is basically a red version of Nightcrawler, teleportation, skilled combatant. And yeah, that was a really interesting one to see. But obviously at the start you had Magneto and Professor X were friends. I felt that James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender, who played Charles Xavier and Eric Lensher, really had some good on-screen chemistry. Sorry, that was fantastic. You kind of see, like, it actually felt like they were friends, and you can see where they started taking their splits. Like Xavier refuses to kill, doesn't want to hurt the humans. Where you can see, due to they've had their different upbringings. Xavier understands that the world doesn't like mutants, but he's trying to change that. Whereas Magneto, Michael Fassbender, his upbringing in the prison camp, being experimented on by Shaw, who he didn't realise was a mutant at the time until later. it shows his sort of hatred of the world, and he understands that they don't like humans, and he'd rather just kill them all, or they're the next stage of evolution, so it doesn't really matter if they like them or not. That's what's going to happen. And you see how the Brotherhood of Mutants came around, which was that was pretty good. Surprising movie. I wasn't expecting too much when I walked in, but then I was just blown away. There was a lot of hype around it, I guess, and I was a little bit sus after X3, but this is just brilliant. I loved it. I loved it so much. So yeah, I'd give that one a 10 out of 10. I recommend that everyone should see that. Now, sorry, before I forget, spoiler if you haven't seen it, but Logan, Wolverine, cameo appearance when when Michael Fassbender and James McAvoy are gathering up the mutants that they're going to need to take on the Hellfire Club, which have already got like an army of mutants. They walk into a bar and Logan's sitting there having a drink. It tells them to get lost straight off, and they just walk straight in and out. There was some classic moments in the movie. It was like that just when they were gathering up all the mutants. So that's cool. I was going to do a graphic novel review this week, but sorry, I'm feeling kind of lazy after talking about 2 movies. We'll get to another graphic novel in the next week. Probably Punisher Max, which is the one I said I was going to be reviewing. But yeah, like I said, I have that old box of comics, and one of these old ones I've got here, I think I paid about $1 for at a like a markets type thing that you went to. Just someone had it on a table, and yeah, this one here, which is a Marvel annual. See the cover? It was The Thing, but there was actually a lot of characters in this. So this one was 1982, good year I was born. I mean, obviously older art, you can see it, but the premise of the storyline here is there's a cosmic entity called the Champion, who kind of, it seems like he has a Galactus level power, or something like the Watcher, I guess, kind of godlike, can't be stopped. And he gathers up heroes from all over the earth, and what he does is he actually travels around the universe. Being called the Champion, he kind of resembles a giant wrestler slash boxer, and he's skilled in all sorts of combat, and he looks for fights. Basically, he's just looking for that next challenge. And so when he comes to Earth, he scoops up a whole heap of heroes from over the planet. You kind of get scenes of them being abducted by this little alien-looking dude with 4 arms. Kind of like a Roswell alien, but pimped with this little, like a bowler hat on top. And yeah, so the heroes get gathered up. You can see they all end up in a gym here. You've got Sasquatch, Thor, Hulk, The Thing, Namor, Colossus, Wonder Man, and what's that dude's name? Doc Samson. That's right. Sorry, the other Hulk-like character. And so speaks the Champion. See there? And yeah, what he does, he brings him to a gym, gets him to start training, gets him to see the rules, and of how he does his fights, puts some hype up around it, advertises it to the Earth. Now, they beat him, or their planet's kind of destroyed, and it's really interesting. Some things, like Hulk, even though Banner's in control at one point, the Hulk rage takes over and he just tears the gloves off and decides to smash him. The guy says, no, I'm not going to fight a mindless brute. Sasquatch does fairly well. Wonder Man just gets pulverised. Colossus takes a massive beating, and in the end, The Thing, he's the last one, and it's all up to him. He takes a massive beating, but he has that Ben Grimm indomitable spirit. He just won't give up, even though he can't stand much on his own. He's all bruised up into the rocks on his body are cracked. He's bleeding. And in the end, the Champion sort of says, like, I know, I can see from your spirit that you'll never give up. And that was a really good one. I'd probably give that a 6, 7 out of 10. So if you come across it, it's a cool story. I didn't, there's some really old comics around that are just really brilliant with team ups and stuff like that. All right, thanks for listening, guys, and yeah, I'll see you on the next review. Ciao.